Okay, welcome back to From the Source podcast. Today we are talking about following your passion, and in particular, we're talking about what inspired us to pursue our current career. And if you call them your passions, then I guess we're going to go through that as well. Now, to start off, we're going to delve into what does it mean to follow your passion. So when I hear that phrase a lot, and I guess, like, for me, following your passion means that you are following your, like, dream or something that you really you feel really strongly about, or you admire. But it is hard to pinpoint, like, what is your passion? What would you say to that?
I think it's probably the thing for me that would get you excited. It's the thing that kind of maybe if you've got a 9 to 5, gets you out of that 9 to 5. You're excited to do it when you finish, or on a weekend you do it. I think for me it'd be the thing that would get me excited. Um,
Gets you out of bed
yeah,
with, like, a spring in your
yeah,
step.
to be like, right, let's get through work today, and then I can do your passion, whatever that is, fitness,
Yeah,
business, whatever, a side hustle.
because when I was thinking about this, I was thinking, is is your passion like a hobby or an interest? Because when you first start doing, like, a new hobby or something, you could really love it, and you get excited for it. But then I was also thinking, sometimes they die out a little bit, don't they? So then, in a sense, can your passion become not a passion anymore? Because your
Mm.
interests change, don't they?
Yeah, I think goes back to something I've said before in other episodes in terms of like you might think it's your passion and then it might turn into something else along that same road. You might, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an example about what you'd be passionate about. I don't think it's a hobby as well. I think maybe a hobby is something you're interested in, which might turn into a passion because you like it. Or it might just be a passion that you've always thought about that isn't related to a hobby.
Yeah,
That sounds a bit confusing, but
yeah, I can see that. I think that's what confuses me, is that whenever I hear someone say follow your passion, or, turn your passion into a career, I think I get confused, and other people get confused as, so what is my passion then? Because I do, like, gym, I might play a sport, I might, love make cooking, I don't know. And then I'm like, right, which one's my passion?
which one do you constantly talk to your mates or your missus or your family about?
Yeah, and that's what it is.
Yeah, what is it?
Well, for me, I've been thinking about this, a little bit, like, this evening, and then for me, my passion, I think, is, like, helping people, but more predominantly, I'd say my passion is giving people, like, advice. And I think that's what made me be a teacher, or maybe when I became a teacher, I liked that element of it. And then I started, like, a tutoring business, but I've always been really into giving people advice or, like, helping people. And then obviously that falls in really nicely to having a tutoring business, because you're helping kids, and then you help them for a little bit, and then they go off and do their own thing, and then you've helped them.
I think that is kind of that road that I was describing then. So you started off with something and it's made you think about something else, but like the core thing was wanting to help people.
Yeah,
And that has grown into
yeah,
teaching,
and
tutoring.
it's also part of the podcast,
Yeah, and it's
because it
all under the same bubble of helping people,
yeah,
but it's got different branches to it.
and in a way, it's like it's not helping people, because I get satisfaction out of, like, being better than someone, or, teaching them. But I think when you see or you work with people that are struggling, or they can't do something, and then you kind of give them a little bit of a nudge or a push, and then eventually they can do it. I love that element. And in a selfish way, yeah, I do enjoy the fact that I've helped them get there.
Yeah.
But that's just something that really drives me. So when I think about my passion, I'm like, yeah, I don't love tutoring, but I love helping people in any walk of life. So that for me, like, gets me there, and I'm like, yeah, I want to do that because I enjoy that.
Because would you like mentoring then?
Yeah, to be honest, yeah, mentoring, tutoring, um, you know, leading something and just having a group of people that you're either mentoring or giving them advice. I mean, at one point I was like, I'd love to be a life coach, but I don't know enough about life to, I've
Yeah,
not been through any crazy stuff in my life to start saying to people who struggle, this is what you need to do.
yeah.
I just like giving my opinion. And I think people also like hearing my opinion, especially kids. Like, I think they connect quite well with me because I'm quite relatable to them. And I think that's what teachers get wrong.
I think it's probably sometimes down to for you in how you actually explain those words and talk about them that probably people can relate to and understand more.
Yeah,
Maybe like that. Maybe more a bit more compassionate.
yeah. And you can simplify things and you can make it funny, you can make it humorous when it's, maybe it shouldn't be, but then people enjoy that. And then that's for me what I think my passion was. But it took me a long time to realize that I thought my passion was being a teacher,
Yeah.
and it is, but
Was that probably not like maybe a complete understanding of what like a teacher actually is? Because like
yeah,
for me, I would just see a teacher as like literally they just teach people.
yeah, and it's in a school.
Yeah, but it's not maybe about that. Because like for me, teaching just wouldn't be the only teacher kind of subject I would teach would be like sport, PE. Because
Yeah,
I just like sport, and that would be selfishly for me because that would kind of get me through the 9 to 5 because I'm doing something I like. But being actually classroom based, watching, monitoring kids and stuff like that, teaching them, that just wouldn't. I just wouldn't see that. I'll do that passionately,
yeah,
which would
yeah,
annoy me, and I wouldn't want to do that job. So I think, yeah, you would obviously wanted to be a teacher, but along that journey, you've actually found out what type of human or person you are.
yeah. Because then you've still got all the elements of what you enjoy, and I think this is what follow your passion is. It's like follow it because what you think it is at first is it in some element, but it's not the full picture.
I think it's your understanding of at the time, really, because I mean, you don't know what you don't know in terms of you could be like, say, 18 and be like, I want to be a teacher, but you've not got any other understanding about, other attributes that are to that. And then once you get to the teacher stage, then that's when all these other skills, attributes come out, and you'd be like, well, actually, I'm passionate about, maybe a life coach teacher, or it's still something.
Yeah, and and then you get to a point like now where when we do a podcast, you're not giving people advice. In some way we are, but it's not about that. It's more like you're just sharing knowledge.
Mm.
You know, you're sharing humorous stories. You're sharing a little bit of wisdom, you could say. But then that's what also being like a tutor or a teacher is, or a mentor, because you're just guiding people through your own experience as well.
Because probably us without knowing will be guiding more than likely people that are maybe 17, 18, 19 because they can relate to us.
Yeah.
Whereas if I was 17, 18, I wouldn't be able to relate to or want guidance from someone who's say 60. So
Yeah.
we will be guiding someone, and then you kind of learn and develop, and then we want in some time will be the 60-year-old
Yeah.
guiding 30-year-olds and stuff like that. So it does work, but I think half the time you just don't know what you don't know, and I think it's just broad. A teacher is like a very broad topic,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of things that go into that. And once you've, say, qualified as a teacher, you might find that you don't want to. You might have always wanted to be a high school teacher, and then you get to high school and you hate it,
Mm.
and you understand that you're more compassionate or understanding for like younger kids.
Yeah. And then that's when you take that little bit of, right, well, I thought I wanted to be this, and I do, but maybe somewhere else, or maybe
Yeah.
in a different way,
Yeah. And then you maybe go to. I think this is where like then, if you've got like the business brain, that's when like the business side develops from it, because you could go to like teaching kids in like what's it called, like junior schools and stuff like that.
Yeah, like
or
primary schools,
yeah. And then from that you'd be like, actually, I've good ideas where I feel like I can help these kids in a different way out of like the school system, and then that might be where your tutoring grows from and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and you can
Yeah.
make it your own way.
And I love that. I love that kind of idea that following your passion is not finding out what it is and just doing it forever. It's following the journey of it, because it's going to grow and blossom into many different things. And then when you work through it all, eventually you'll end up, you probably will never just sit back and be like, right, yeah, I followed my passion. You're like, you did, but you're still going.
Yeah,
you know?
I don't think it ever ends, to be fair, because I think it's your goal is to be a teacher, but then once you get to a teacher, it doesn't just stop.
It'll blossom into something else.
I think once you get there, you be like, right, I'm here, and then there's no passion or enthusiasm for the kids, and then it just plateaus out.
Yeah.
You always have to think of the next step in terms of where am I going to take this. That you could want to be a head teacher.
Yeah.
Then from a head teacher, you might want to be on like councils and do stuff at like Ofsted level. Maybe.
Yeah. You can end up like going down the route of creating like a huge shift in, if we're talking about education, you could go down the route of running a new community platform where it creates a huge shift in education. And sometimes I think I always wanted to be a teacher, and now I don't think schools are actually a brilliant system that we've got going on.
Yeah.
And then you could go down the route of saying, now I still want to be a teacher, but I want to transform schools and make them way better.
I mean, yeah, I don't know how easy it could be, but ideas are just flowing about. You could make your own school, or you could go the political route and try and get in Parliament and change it firsthand from the top. There's loads of things you could do. So you've spent, say, 20 years you're doing your passion of helping people, specifically like children and stuff, but you actually only 5 of that you're ever a teacher.
Yeah.
You wanted to change it differently, and I think that's just where it grows. And I think that's where the passion, in terms of like, if you wanted to do it, you've not just stopped at the first.
Yeah. So your passion isn't really a job or a hobby or really an interest. It's like something that's driving you to do something. And that's why I think people get confused. You can't really explain it. I've had to really think about it for a long time, thinking, well, what do I really enjoy? And I figured it out, but it's so broad now. If I really enjoy helping people, well, I could do anything, you know?
Oh, yeah, it wouldn't even have to be teaching. It could be like charity work, like bloody Uganda or something. That's helping people. It doesn't have to be what you initially thought it might be in teaching. Honestly, it could be helping the elderly, driving blind buses. It could be, but you're still helping people under that.
Yeah.
And
how funny if you said to me 10 minutes ago, what's your passion? And I was like, do you know what? I figured it out. Helping blind people driving buses.
Hey, can't knock it. I only thought of that then because I used to do that with
Did you?
With my grandpa, actually. Yeah, when he retired, he used to drive buses for blind people. I think I must have been about 13, 14, 15, maybe something like that.
So you weren't driving them?
No, I was like sitting in front of the minibuses with them and stuff. But that in a way, it's weird. As I've got older, I've thought back about things that at the time I thought, that's not going to teach me anything. Probably at that time I thought, I'll get to spend time with my grandpa, like, driving buses. I don't want to be with these lot. I'm 15, I want to be playing footy or whatever. But then it teaches you different ways to interact with people, like, with blind people, being compassionate, whatever, even pushing like wheelchairs and stuff. It just weirdly teaches these skills. And then I think I realised it later on in life, probably when I was about 25, that all those like amalgamate into a passion. All those skills have helped you with that passion.
You never realise anything at the time, do you? How important it is or how meaningful it is. And you kind of take it for granted. But then the beauty of that is eventually you'll look back on it and go, oh, I'm so glad I did that.
Yeah.
But at the time, you just don't appreciate it.
No, I mean, I think slightly off topic this, but like communication thing for me when I was younger, for whatever reason, was a problem. I just thought communication was like, hi, you're right. Yeah, good, thank you. Yeah, but but it's so much to it. It's like listening, it's understanding, it's like being sympathetic. I think that just comes in life. And I think at the time, like jobs I've previously had, like I've worked with like disabled kids, disabled adults, all that lot. I remember applying for that job with disabled adults thinking, what the hell am I doing?
Yeah.
And I was shitting it the first day because I just didn't know how to interact.
Yeah. You were scared of
Yeah.
saying the wrong thing or not saying anything.
Because I never wanted to be, but you end up turning into, it's usually able bodies versus disabled bodies. And what I found is that you go down the street and someone would like not want to talk to an adult who had cerebral palsy in a wheelchair. You don't know how to interact with them.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like that the first day. And then when I started speaking to them and stuff, I was like, these are actually better than normal people.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It's crazy. They're more understanding. There's like easy going because you've been through like shit parts of their life. And you just learn all those skills and like, you learn how to communicate better. Even some of them are like non-verbal and stuff like that. You learn the different ways. And I think obviously if I wanted to go down like the tutoring route and stuff like that, that would be like great for you in terms of like different ways to communicate. And that opens up a different.
Yeah. That's nice. That
communication is just, I think you just got to chuck yourself in it with people and just learn. I mean, I loved working that job.
Yeah.
At the end of it.
Even just listening. I think sometimes we never get taught to listen. Even by our parents, it's almost like we just expected to just be able to listen. And I was just thinking then, are you ever in a conversation and you're listening to someone, but you're thinking about how you are looking, or you're thinking about like yourself, you're not even listening to them?
You could be talking, which we obviously do in this because this is how the podcast kind of each episode goes, but you'll say something and I already know what I want to say.
Yeah.
But I think that's where the communication comes, is like not to interrupt you because I'm like, I want to say yours, I want to talk about that bit, but you still haven't finished. But then most people have already interrupted and that's literally just what everyone does.
I heard a thing the other day that was basically saying that a conversation goes like this, and there's two ways. Someone says something, and the person that's listening will either reply with a story about them that is similar, or they'll ask a question about the person's story. So, for example, I'm telling you a story about me going on a hike. You might say, "Oh, I went on a hike, and I," or you'll say, "Oh, what did you have for lunch?" You know, it's all like, and they said there's only that conversation that can happen. There's no other two ways. It's dead interesting that.
Yeah.
It's not got anything to do.
Yeah, well,
not got anything to do with following your passion.
Then I started thinking about something else.
Yeah, but just quickly go back to your, like, what's your passion? Because we skipped over that.
My passion. I mean, I want to say like the pet stuff, which is my passion, which obviously was my passion, but. I sound like 60 saying this, so I'll get slagged by some people that know this, but my passion now, I genuinely weirdly feel it, and it's just snooker.
I knew you was going to say that.
Honestly, right? Because what I think when I play snooker now, and I'm going to get really into this, but when I was younger, we used to go on holiday, and obviously my sister and mum and dad will know about this. We used to go on holiday to like Tenerife. You couldn't get me away from the pool tables when I was a kid. Like literally 4 or 5 upwards, I was playing pool. Like every single year we'd go. Like always, I can't remember how much it was, but always run to my mum for say like 50 cents. She used to give me loads, tell me to go away. And then basically I found out that, I mean, she only found out probably the last 10 years or so, I don't know, or maybe I'm rejigging her memory. But I used to play then against like Russian and German kids for money, because I didn't want to go back to mum and ask her for more money, because I know she'd say like, she could easily cut me off.
Oh way.
So we used to like,
so he was hustling.
Bet games and hustle. And then somehow that stopped, so I probably presume she kiboshed it, but that's what I used to do. But then I never used to play pool, because after that, when I got older, because obviously you need a pool table. And then it's only in the last 6 months that we went away and we played pool. And I genuinely picked the cue up and I was like,
You loved it.
I just felt it. Like I picked the cue up and it was just so easy. Do you know, like a skill that's just
natural.
Yeah, do you know? Yeah, not like big, not like Ronnie O'Sullivan or anything, but like Lionel Messi, right? When he first kicked a football when he was a kid, and then he obviously played all his life, and then he could retire, and in 10 years' time, he'll kick a ball, and it'll just feel like he's 10
Yeah,
again.
yeah,
That's what it felt like. And then I played pool, liked it, and then I've moved on to snooker, and that's just like a different ball game in terms of like right up my street with tactics and I think I've developed more in terms of like the passion because I initially started and I was a bit shit at it. Well, I'm very
yeah,
like self-critical, so I wasn't shit. Like I don't know how good you are at pool or snooker, but the normal person was coming and like really struggling to pot, and I could pot the balls, but I was playing against people that had done it for like 25 years,
yeah,
and that was like driving me on. And they were like trying to be soft with me and stuff like that. I said, no, like be as harsh as you want because that's how I like to learn. So recently, like the snooker, passion wise,
yeah.
I go 4 or 5 times a week.
I almost, when you was talking then, I almost was thinking about you and how you love learning something, I think.
Mm,
But yeah, your passion probably is snooker, right? Because you love it and you've said you can just feel it. But then I was thinking, I wonder if you have this like passion of like, you're constantly trying to get better. So, for example, when we do the podcast, Sam's always like, how can we film it better? How can we get the sound better? You know, and like, you wouldn't have had a clue how to set up the sound, what,
no,
3 years ago?
yeah,
And then you've just learned how to do it. You've learned how to do like, you built a website, you've built an actual like business, and then you're just constantly building, but also learning. And then obviously when it gets to snooker, you used to play it as a kid. So you've got that element of like, you love it, but then now like you want to get better and better and better. And
yeah.
you probably go 4 times a week because you want to get better. And
I go in there and I go in there when it opens. I go in before people to practice, and then when I play people, like now, I mean, it took a bit sad, like, but I do think about it all the time. The last 2 weeks, I've gone in and played the same people I was playing 3 months ago,
yeah,
and I've just been getting down to the ball and like knowing exactly where it's going to go. And they've been like, "Shit, have you been practicing?" I'm like, "Yeah,
yeah,
because
yeah,
I
yeah,
I hate fucking losing to you." So
yeah,
I'm not, and I might lose to you, but like that's the drive. It's like
yeah,
the learning. I'm like watching the videos and learning and practicing. I think obviously comes with like mistakes when you play matches and stuff and that lot. But I think yeah, that obviously snooker is the passion that is driving the learning. But I think in general, maybe the passion kind of that I have is just to learn.
you like,
Maybe like not to like settle. Like this could, like we spoke about before, in terms of like this podcast could go great, right? We could get like 10,000 views every video, and I would be like, there is something we can tweak here
yeah,
because not that it's about views, but that's how things are measured. But like maybe we can get to 20,000, we change this. So obviously we've spoke about, or I've spoke to you about like adding extra camera angles in,
yeah,
which is more work and learning, which will make editing a bit harder in the short term, but in the long run it'll just be easier.
yeah,
Remember when we first started and we were like, I was trying to edit stuff and send it over, and you were
yeah.
doing it, and
It's
it was a lot slower. And now it's just
yeah, you've got like a really good way of just you're constantly open to new ideas, but then also we'll talk about something and you'll go away and be like, right, I've done it, I've
mm,
tried it, and
yeah,
I can do it like this now.
yeah,
So I mean, that's what I think's hard about what is your passion? Not you, but in general, everyone. Your hobby can be a passion, and you know, your sports can be a passion, or maybe you're a singer and you just want to be a singer and that's your passion. But it's interesting that is there like an underlying um, passion that's driving you? Because you could say like, you know, you love snooker, so you're gonna go to that snooker hall or whatever it is to play every day. But then do you love snooker, or do you just want to get better at snooker?
I think it's when you were saying that, then I think maybe what I'd define a passion is like everyone. Maybe so. Let's speak about me. Like the core passion I would have, I would associate it with like an attribute that I have that's like, say, the best one or the one that defines me the most, which is probably like the learning side in like not settling. I don't know how you would describe it. Like I learned something cool. That's in my eyes, that's basic. Where's advanced? Where's
Yeah.
I want to go up. So maybe my attribute, well, my passion is an attribute, and then from that attribute is stuff that I like or associate with that attribute
Yeah.
in a way.
Yeah. I agree.
So like your passion is to like, teach people or not all that lot, but it's not a teacher.
Yeah.
It's
It
reward or
it is that, because when I was when I was growing up, people used to like ask me stuff like advice, or like, I don't know, like my friends would say, like, you do it because you're good at talking, or you're good at asking, and
yeah.
you're confident, and all them attributes like added up for me to one day be like, I want to be a teacher. Like, well, what does a teacher do? They stand at the front and they help kids get better at something. And then for me, that was what I was looking at, thinking, I'd love to do that.
Mm.
And now I do that, but like for my own business, and not to make money. Obviously, you'd want to make money, but it's also like I really enjoy it, helping parents, helping kids, helping, anyone. It doesn't even have to be kids, it could be adults.
And that's what I mean. It's not like a teacher, is it? You could be a public speaker.
Yeah.
It's still, you are still helping people in a massive audience,
Yeah.
but the core attribute is
Like,
not a teacher, is
yeah,
it?
it is really interesting.
I think that's probably how. I mean, I think I'm like more visual about the things, and maybe in my head and stuff. But that's probably how I would see it: is break down the actual attribute.
Yeah, that's a good way of doing it.
If I could, I think like maybe with me in terms of I could get a job anywhere, in any field. You give me enough time to learn it, I'll learn the basics, and then from there I'll wanna move up. So that, and I would be passionate about that job because it's always learning.
Yeah, and do you know when your passion would die out? When you've just got to a dead end job where you can't excel anymore.
See,
And
it's
that's
so
when
interesting that you said that, because 18 to 24 months is when I probably maybe don't, but like sometimes all the time actually would keep a job.
Yeah.
Because as soon as I was speaking to my mum about this a few weeks ago, and as soon as I hit that ceiling of learning, I found probably like I'm going to say I'm definitely underpaid in roles. I should like go in as a consultant or something.
Yeah.
Because I go in, I find and this is hard to maybe describe some people because they feel, oh, you like, cheating or cheapskate or whatever. But I'll find not the easiest, let's say the most efficient way to do that job.
Yeah.
I will find the most efficient way. Once I've found that, cool, keep going 6, 12 months. And then that's when it's like, can't learn anymore from this.
Yeah.
And then I'll move jobs.
Yeah, because you get bored.
Yeah.
Because you're not fulfilling that hole of, I like doing what I'm passionate about. And if I'm passionate about learning and progressing and getting better at things, and I can't, I'm going elsewhere to do it.
I think that's why I like starting a new job, actually, thinking about it.
Yeah.
Because you spend like the first 4 weeks as an induction. And it's like you meet loads of people, blah, blah, blah. You find out what you're kind of good at, what you're going to do, and all that lot. And then when they let you loose, you're like, wow, this is amazing. And then you're learning, doing all the job. And once you've kind of learnt what you want.
Yeah. And I was thinking, I wonder if everyone works like that. But I know for a fact, some people absolutely hate starting a new job.
Mm.
Some people have such bad anxiety and stress of starting a new job. But I'm very similar to you, where I love it. I love being busy and like finding out how to do something and learning something new. And like, I get really excited about it. And then eventually, like you, it starts to become monotonous, boring.
Yeah.
I can't excel.
Yeah. And then I sometimes then think about, if I was to make my own business doing what I've found the most efficient way, like I'd actually make a
Yeah.
because all these lot are doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Like, I've done this in an hour and they've done it in 4. But then it's like, well, I don't have enough money to start another business. I don't have enough time. I've got about 10 businesses in my head.
Yeah.
So
It's interesting that though.
yeah,
I think I can tell from being your mate that you are really into learning and trialing and just giving things a go and like building. Maybe building is like another big one for you because you're building on skills in snooker, you're building on business, you're building on, being creative and editing, and I guess that's the same word for learning, but it's interesting.
yeah. I think, yeah, I've always, probably not when I was younger, like teenager, I was always scared to try something new. I think anxiety and all that lot probably played a part, if that was the word back then. But then as I got older, I've like, no, let's just chuck ourselves into it.
Yeah.
Like what we did with the podcast when we first started. I mean, I'm thinking back to like when we first started, we were obviously talking about, oh, we put our first video out, people are going to see it. Like, I don't like the sound of my own voice. Now I'm not asked about it. I see our videos come out, I think, oh, fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to hear my voice again and stuff like that. But then you just grow with it.
Yeah.
And now that's all just in the rearview mirror.
Yeah. Do you think everyone should follow the passion? Like, so say you've worked out listening to this, or you just worked out in general that you know what your passion is and you know what you're passionate about. Do you think that you should follow it? Or do you think that some people aren't suited to
I
going
would
on that
love
route?
everyone to follow their passion because there'd be so many cool businesses, there'd be so many cool ideas. I think everything seems to be so corporate now, big corporations, because there's the people that want to think that have the corporations and there's just everyone else that just follow suit. But I also think there's people that I've known in jobs before, like me, that have found the most efficient way to do things and then been like, I'm getting paid a decent amount of money here to do not a lot of work, so I'm just going to stick at it. And they just level themselves off.
Yeah.
They find where they're comfortable at, they're not going to get nagged at, they can do the work. And then I think a lot of people just get comfortable. I think sometimes in life people just, well, other things go on, they have kids and stuff like that, and I think that's when
They almost forget what it was that they were once passionate about.
Yeah,
and then they can't find it anymore.
Everything just gets lost. I mean, I've said it like when I have kids and stuff, like, I'll still go out running. I'll still go and play snooker.
Yeah.
I'll still go and do this, do everything that I want to do, because I think if you're passionate about something, you'll somehow find the time. I could run before kids get up. We could do this podcast late at night if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many things. It's not just get back from work at 5 o'clock and be like, right, kids are sorted, bed, eat shit, sit down. Like,
yeah.
why?
That's another key factor to help you find out what your passion is what do you do no matter what? What is it in life that you are doing that's a non-negotiable?
Yeah.
And like maybe you go for a run, right? And you'll be like, running's my passion. Is it, or are you just are you passionate about self-development and keeping healthy and fit? Like maybe it is running. Maybe running gives you great satisfaction, and you wouldn't go a day without running. But then it helps you I think if everyone pondered on this, they'd really discover like what it is inside them that they're doing it for. Like you've basically just worked out that you're passionate about snooker, but you're passionate about getting better and learning, and it's almost like just sit on it for an hour. For everyone listening, what is your passion? Because you might think it's football, and it might be, but it could be something else that's surrounded by football. I don't know.
I've seen people that are good at really good at football, and that's what they thought their passion is, and then they actually really like kicking a ball really far, and then they've developed into just being a kicker in an NFL team.
Yeah.
And they've actually found out they're really passionate about like living in America, but like playing NFL, and that's what they've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
They originally started off as a footballer.
Yeah.
Or like a rugby player going playing NFL, and
Or it could be like being part of a team and like team building or something like that. I don't know. It could be football. I guess it is a complicated topic, but it's interesting if you just sat on it for ages. Because I love the gym. I love the gym, but I don't know if it's my passion. I don't know if it is that. But I go every day if I can. You know, like I'm literally at the gym pretty much every day, and I really enjoy it. But I don't know if it's my passion.
Could you do it if no one was there every day?
I think at this point in my life, I would.
Right.
I'd go if it was just if I had a gym in my garage and no one was there, and I'd kitted it all out. I'd even go then, but I enjoy the community aspect of a gym. So,
see, I could have a home gym, but I couldn't train in every day because I'd want to be around people. Like I couldn't do this podcast. I could do this podcast on my own. Not saying that.
Yeah.
Right. But I'd definitely prefer to do it with someone.
Yeah. It's you need people, don't you?
Because there's a we've spoke about in terms of like, you know, podcast is not doing very well, or you're just having an off day, and it was just me looking at a camera. How do I pick myself up? And I think that takes a very strong person to go, come on, let's just go again, to yourself. Whereas we could just bounce off each other. I think I prefer doing it with people, not just a podcast for like the gym, but not a lot of people.
Yeah. You need like-minded people as well, or people that are on your wavelength.
If I was doing a massive class, like say a 30-person class, I would not be engaged at all.
Yeah,
there's so much going on.
It's too busy.
Like the bloody gym instructor's not listening, or, you know, I'm in a group of people, we're doing it right, they aren't. So I just switch off.
Yeah.
It was like a tight-knit community and stuff, and yeah.
Somewhere where you can like excel and be yourself, but enjoy it and learn from others. Like I love learning from other people as well. That's why doing the podcast or working in general, having a job, when you work with people who are a little bit better than you at something and learning from them, I think it gives you new ideas. Like, you know, you could discover your passion just from talking to someone for an hour, and then go away and start doing something that you've never done before.
Because someone could come and speak to you and be like, "Oh, I really want to be a teacher," and then you're like, "Well, actually, I was a teacher, then I started tutoring, and actually, I really like doing that as well."
Yeah.
Like, actually, I don't want to be a teacher. I want to like tutor.
Yeah.
I don't want the teacher brand. So, I mean, going back to snooker, it's the same thing in terms of. And I always used to laugh when I'd go in, obviously just starting as a beginner, and people would go, "Oh," because I don't know how much you know about it, but in terms of like they have handicaps similar to golf, so they give you a point. You get a point advantage if you say if I was playing you playing me, I'd give you 28-point head start basically.
Right.
So if I was playing a better person, they would give me say 40 points or whatever, and every single time I'd be like, no. Like, I don't want your handicap.
Right.
You're going to smash me. You're going to smash me.
Yeah.
But if I'm sat there watching you, I can learn how you hit the balls, like how you get down, how you think. Like, I was a bit of a pest when I first started because it's a very quiet sport.
Yeah.
So every time they were getting down for a shot, potting it, and then they were standing thinking themselves, I'm going, so which ball are you going to go for next? Because I'd actually go for that one. They'd go, no, I'd go over there. And I'd be like, sorry, I've just got to say it. So I'd always want to get beaten. And then I'd go away, practice, and come back and be like, all right, mate, do you want a game? He'd be like, yeah. And then I see it on their face like, yeah, like, can't be honest playing. Like, because,
the shit guy again.
Yeah. And then they play me and they'd be like, oh, shit, you've been practicing? I'm like, yeah. Like,
yeah, see?
You might beat me this time, but you might beat me by 20.
Yeah.
So, and then you beat me.
And that must give you so much satisfaction that you've put in time and you've actually succeeded.
Yeah.
You know?
I've the snooker stuff in terms of when I first started, because the table's 12 foot long, 6 foot wide, when you get down, it's massive. So they were saying, obviously, if the white's at one end and the red's at the other end, it's got so far to travel. You've got to be so good to be aiming. And they would say, like, they're the hardest shots. And I'd be like, right. And I'd go away, and that is all I would practice is the long shots. So then we'd play a game against people. They'd be like, you're not taking it on, Sam, are you? I'm like, yeah, I am.
I've nailed it.
Like, I'll watch this and smash it in. And then I'd struggle with the little ones.
Yeah.
They'd be like, wow. So, like, I would always want to get beaten to learn. And I think that's the only way, like, with this, say, the podcast, if loads of people were giving us loads of grief about how crap it was, I'd be like, that's why
Yeah,
I
because you
want.
can take it
It's
on
why I want the
board.
crap from
You can
some
take the
people.
feedback,
Yeah,
can't
because
you?
I want the feedback. I'm not bothered.
Mm.
Like, it's just water off a duck's back. So, you know, give us your opinions, your feedback, critique it, tell us it's shit, tell us why it's shit. Because if you tell me, you go, oh, Sam, you're shit at talking, I'd be like, sound. Anyway, why was I shit? Like, I'm not
Yeah.
arsed.
You can like learn from
Yeah.
feedback. You can learn from mistake. You can learn from just listening to people. It is really interesting. I think that's the beauty of life, really. You're just constantly learning and growing in like all these different areas. You're growing at work and you're growing in family and relationships and friendships and business and
But you're growing just genuinely as a person.
yeah.
I never once practiced or researched how to speak in front of people. But then there was just times at work where they'd go, anyway, Sam, you're doing the presentation today. I'd be like, all right, in front of like 15 people, I'd be like, and then you just start talking, but you've developed some way
Yeah.
of communicating. You might do your ums and your ahs and I don't know what to say, but it just rolls off your tongue and then you've learnt something else.
Yeah. And you do it once and then the second time you do it a little bit better and 10 times later you've
confidence.
cracked it, you know.
It's just pure confidence.
It is an interesting thing. I think one thing you were saying before was how like you start something and maybe you think that's your passion and then eventually it changes in it and it like adapts and it grows into something different. But I was thinking of, do you know Mo Gaudat? He's been on Diary of a CEO a couple of
No.
times. He's like a really smart guy. But basically, he was the chief engineer of Google X, right? So Google X.
Does he have glasses? Is he bald?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know.
Mo Gaudat. He's Gaudat or Gaudat. He's written a few books and I've read them and they are really good. But basically, his story is he was the chief engineer at Google X, where they make like, I don't know, flying cars and robots and stuff. It's like that kind of industry, Google X. And he was the chief engineer of it, like his dream job. Really intelligent guy, engineer. And he did that in his life because he thought he wanted to help the world, like develop technology. And now he's left all that kind of career and he's got a company that is trying to make 1 billion people on Earth happier. And that's his business. That's his company. I think it's a non-profit. And basically, he is devoted his life now, and he's like one of the most intelligent people I think there is, but to make like humans happier, because he's realized that when he was in Google and stuff, you could do all this stuff, but it's meaningless unless like people are happy. And basically, he went through his whole life like, I'm an engineer, this is what I'm doing. And then when he got to the top, couldn't go any higher really. He basically realized, I don't actually like doing this. I actually like helping people, not just helping the world with technology, but helping people. Really interesting.
I think it makes you think though, doesn't it? When you've done everything you thought you wanted to do, and then it's like, I do still think sometimes, like, push come to shove, when it's times are hard or you've got no money, your brain ends up thinking of ways out of it or different solutions or something. It's like maybe he's reached the top and then he's just gone, this isn't what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, exactly that.
A bit like Tyson Fury when he won against Klitschko. He always wanted to be world heavyweight champion, got to the top, and then was like, what now?
Yeah.
Like, this is what I've always wanted to be.
It's a massive come down. Yeah. It's a massive, what's the word where it's a bittersweet anticlimax? Because you just reached your pinnacle point that you thought was going to be it. And then maybe it just turns out that it's not supposed to be like that.
Because like everyone dreams of winning the lottery or being a billionaire. But then I wonder how many billionaires or people that win the lottery, well, even the lottery, right? How many people are actually happy when they win that?
Yeah, they're happy for that day.
Rinse all that money and then Or there was a guy that was a plumber or a builder, and he won the lottery the day before and went back to building houses
Yeah.
because he had all the money in the world, but didn't know what to do with it, or
Yeah.
didn't know, apart from just spend it and just drink yourself silly or go on holidays. But that just gets boring.
I think that's the problem nowadays is everyone wants to be rich and famous, but they don't know what they actually enjoy. Like, you can't just be rich and famous. Life doesn't work like that. If it did, like, being rich and famous wouldn't even be a good thing. And to be honest, I don't think it is that good unless you've achieved it by doing, like, something that you really enjoy.
Yeah, because if you grafted for like your first million, how many lessons, things have you learnt along the way to
Yeah.
actually get to that? And you probably get there and you won't even want to spend that million because you've worked out that's not the best way to do it and all that lot. And the skills that you learn aren't just like given. Well, they're not given to you, are they? If you just get given a million,
Yeah.
you've still got the same old boring life skills. Like if you give a homeless guy a million, he's spending it.
Yeah.
He's not got any skills
On crap.
He's not got any skills to understand where that money does, what that money does, or how to put it to use. I mean, or have a passion or whatever.
Yeah. You have to work for it. And I think that for me is so important where you can just realize that following your passion doesn't mean that you're doing it and then you do it forever and that's it. You're following the whole journey of it. There's so many people I think that would say, I don't know what my passion is. You know, I like this, I like that, but follow it.
Write down 10 things you like doing
And
do 10 things.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. Write 10 things down, do the 10 things, and if you don't like any of them, none of them are your passion.
Yeah.
And then write another 10 things down.
Yeah.
Write down the top 100 passions in the world.
And do them all.
Do them all.
And then cut that down to 50 and then do them again.
And I guarantee there's probably 10 in there that you like doing.
Yeah.
And then I bet there'll be a few that you really like doing.
And honestly, I think if anyone is like listening to this thinking, I wonder what my passion is, or they think they know, I would really sit on it and just ponder on it and just think, is it that? You know, is it football or is it sport or is it being fit or is it, you know, is it like communication or is it just something a bit deeper? I don't know.
Because the way my brain works, I would break them all down. So I think it might be communication, right? So obviously money, we need money. So from that communication, what does that break down to? What jobs need to communicate in? So like teaching, tutoring, podcasts, like journalists, interviewing, weatherman.
So many in there.
There's so many. I don't know how
and
many
I bet
that
you
was.
could do that for every single
So then which one of them do I want to do? And then from that, see what you can do about it. And that might just be volunteering. Like volunteer, see if you like it, don't like it, don't have to go again.
Yeah.
And find, I just think, sometimes I think in your darkest times, you'll find what you're kind of passionate about.
Yeah, or your quietest times,
Yeah.
you know, like just sit on your own for a bit and just think about it.
I don't think enough people do that.
No, people hate it.
Just walk the dog, don't put your headphones on and just walk.
They can't.
And just think.
Some
you end
people
up chatting
can't.
to someone, you go for a coffee, you don't do what you say you're going to do.
People hate just sitting and thinking, but I try and do it. Like, I don't do it enough, but I try and do it. Even sometimes in the car, like just not putting any music on, not putting a podcast on and just driving. So you're obviously concentrating on the road, but you just sat, you know, and I'm like, I don't know, you just wonder what I'm going to think about.
I mean, some people who know me might understand this, but I do my best thinking on the toilet.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. I know I'm sat on my phone on the toilet, but that's probably a bad habit.
You get good ideas.
I just think on the toilet. Honestly,
that is brilliant.
Honestly, that is like, there's no one bothering you because no one wants to come in a bathroom when people are there. So you just get a chance to think.
Yeah.
And I just think of so many ideas, or I think maybe my head's going quicker than some people, but or something like lying in bed and stare up and just think.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, people don't do that enough. And I think the best ideas really just come from when you're on your own. I've said it before about meetings in work and stuff and how people have meetings to like ideate and think of new things, but you've got to do that by yourself. No distractions. Just go for a walk, go for a drive, sit on your own and just sit on the sofa and just don't put the TV on for like half an hour and just think.
Yeah.
Stephen Bartlett always says it on his podcast. He said it about 10 times, but there's a study where...
Huel's the best.
Yeah, wait, one day we'll have a bottle of Huel here. Stephen Bartlett always says it on his podcast where there's a study where you got two groups of people, and one group, just a group of people, and they said, you can either sit on your own with no distractions, nothing, no music, nothing, for I think it was like 2 hours, or here's a button, and every time you press it, you get an electric shock. And it was like 75% or something of the people in the group gave themselves an electric shock rather than just sit for 2 hours. So they wanted to just do something rather than just sit. Weird.
I like peace and quiet. It's
only when you're on the toilet.
Yeah, no. But I think that there's a communication. I can't remember exactly what it is, but when people are talking, there's like a group of people, and it's always the person who doesn't talk is the one that's taking it in.
Yeah.
It's like the kind of whoever speaks first loses.
Yeah.
So don't speak at all and you'll win. That's kind of what I do in a conversation. So I sit and take everyone's ideas in, and you get a chance to think about it all. And then within that, you've gone off in your own mind thinking about different things, wrote it down and stuff. And then people go, what do you think? And they all sit there and think, oh my God, he's got so many good ideas. But you've not listened to me because I'm waiting to speak, and you've done the same, and everyone's trying to jump in.
Yeah. Yeah.
But just sit and think about it.
Yeah. I think there's so much to be said for that. The people that are the loudest in the room are often like
most insecure or something.
Yeah. It's compensating.
The class clown, isn't it?
Yeah.
In a way, in the workspace.
You're compensating for something. And then the people that a lot of people just don't know how to listen, and I guess they don't know how to think, how to just sit with the thoughts for a bit. But no, I think for anyone listening, if you are wondering what your passion is, then start with a little bit of silence and just thinking, what do you enjoy? And then when you're following your passion, you just see where it leads. But we're not experts on it. We're not experts on it, but I genuinely feel like we are two people that have done the journey of following your passion and actually doing something about it. I think a lot of people know what they're passionate about, and then they just don't do anything about it. But
got just take that leap.
Yeah,
even if it's just a little leap, and just go with it. Honestly, just if it was just a road, just keep walking down because you'll end up somewhere.
Yeah, and it's better than just standing still.
Yeah, better not just sitting still and just watching everything go by. Like I've said to you the whole time, probably said on this, like the reason we started this, or I wanted to start in, asked you about it if you wanted to do it, is because I was just sick of watching everyone else do it. Like,
yeah.
Why not? Let's just do it.
Yeah.
And then we then start on the podcast road, and like we said, you don't know where it leads to.
Yeah.
If you don't start, I guarantee you don't go anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what everyone knows, but they just don't do it still. But just try it. But yeah, thanks for listening. If you're still here and you are listening on your phone, then go and follow us on Instagram or TikTok. We're back on TikTok because we got like shadow banned or something, but we're back on it.
You're the social media guy.
Yeah. Sorry about that. And then, like the video, subscribe, comment, do whatever.
Let us know what your passion is in the comments if you've got one.
Yeah, tell us.
Interested to know.
Give us your thoughts on it. And obviously, give us some feedback, even on the podcast. Give us some ideas. And thanks for listening. We'll catch you in the next one.
See you on the next one.